Okay, so recently I saw something in my mind, and it stemmed from the understanding that all monetary technologies have been surpassed as a result of Bitcoin. This means no monetary technology will store any value against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like something that's just going to keep going up, and thus everything else has been redefined. As a result, what this means is that you need Bitcoin. But as it stands right now, you need to imagine, because what I understood from this is that you need to imagine it like the early days of America and the sort of world that we live in now, where there was a land grab. We are not in the realm, we're not in the age of owning land. No one has the money for that. Because you cannot own the land, you have to deal with those who do and what is built on top. And I'm trying to compare this to not having Bitcoin. Bitcoin being the land or the stable. It is the land of value that where it will all flow to. But it's like, I see it as like a number. Like Bitcoin literally created the number one. We have the number one as in $1, but it is redefined in the background via changing the denominator by printing. Okay, so it's not even like it's a stable thing. Bitcoin literally created the first ever number one. And that's what we use as money today. Forget about holding coins, forget about, cash, notes. It's literally just a number on a screen. But as we know, it's not a definitive value. Bitcoin literally created the first number value, the number one Satoshi. Okay, so in our reality realm right now, this is the actual new monetary unit, which is the new stable ground that you must build upon, because it's where all value flows into, and it becomes the foundational, as they say, the hurdle rate, whatever term it is they use, but it's like it's the benchmark of stable ground that always stays above sea level. It's like creating a boat. Everyone else is on primitive lands, and this is like a boat that no matter how high the sea rises, it always stays on top of it. So go back to this concept of land ownership, and because your family are not land owners, what position are you in? You're in the position of buying a house that is built on top of the land or having to rent. Okay, so because Bitcoin is the land of value, if you are not in a position to own it, then you get put into the position of the house buyer or the renter. Okay, so what does that mean? I'm saying that Bitcoin is the thing that's going to be going up. Like no one can control it. No one can stop it. If the early days of Bitcoin, the first 10 million coins were all lost, there's nothing we can do about that. Okay, and as a result, there's only 10 million left, and all the world's capital is concentrated on that, and it just sends the price even higher. That's why that's where everything flows into. There's currently 14 million coins held by non-institutional entities. If these were just ordinary people and they die with their coins in self-custody, without a quantum computer, without the private key, there's no way to access that. As a result, there's only 5 million coins left, and it's even more amplified. There's nothing we can do to stop this. There's nothing we can do to make it not the new, it has surpassed every other thing. The dollar is not going up 100% per year, etc., etc. No other asset is either, because they can't control the force of the world's capital on a finite area, which is what Bitcoin can do in its total supply and its control of its emission through time. 1 block every 10 minutes. So anyone who buys the land, which is the Bitcoin, and think about back in the day, to buy land, you needed a government entity, institution, which the people of the land submitted to, which also had ties to the military to enforce that land ownership right. with Bitcoin, the protocol, the mining, the proof of work, that is the enforcement. Okay, that is the enforcement. There is no requirement for war. There's no requirement to enslave, steal, etc., etc. There's no requirement to fund the defending entity via taxes, etc., etc. So Bitcoin is its own separate land right. Okay, people say Bitcoin is peer-to-peer cash. Yeah, but you need to read the book, The Sovereign Individual, and understand what makes someone a sovereign individual. Because when I did this story, and I'm drifting away from my point about explaining the land rights and what that means for you who will not own the land but will have to either purchase the house. I'm gonna explain to you what the house is, okay, and what being a renter is, or being in the ghetto, the projects is within this monetary realm. But what was I saying again? Yeah, the sovereign individual. Now think about that. You go to America under the guise of it being the land of the free. You can own your own property, but you're trying to get away from the British. You're trying to get away from the British rule. And they have ideas of individual liberty, independence. But imagine, now I'm kind of changing history here, but imagine you had gone from under British rule, even perhaps lingering Roman rule, and the people who owned the land were all, one, either kings. Well, let's say everything just ran, was under the king and the noble class, and it was really a tight structure. Now, you understand why the king, as a peasant, you understand why the king owns the land, and you have to pay taxes to them because he's got the army and he's got the noble right, the divine right to rule, etc., etc. Now, the land of the free, America, is where you're selling the individual the idea of independence, the American dream. But what many understood was that via this democratic republic, or wherever it's going to be created, the thing that was going to defend property rights, you were going to be able to own as much land as the King of England. And you're going to have it defended by this new governmental institution that defends the rights of the people. Now, that's a big idea. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't, if you were a peasant, they may get you there to work on the colony under the guise that you're going to be able to get a little bit of land or get a little house, get a little shack. If you were uninformed, you wouldn't know the importance of owning the land rights, the deed, not just the house, but the land beneath your feet. Because that's how they'll get you to work on a colony. You'll work on the colony, the fiat plantation, to buy resources so you can build a little shack, a little house, but you'll forget about the land rights. Okay? But what you have to see, the big idea of America is that you get to own as much land as the King of England. Acres. That's the big idea of America. And for those who are captured by the idea, it's a surpassing system. Okay, it surpasses the monarchy type of system. And everyone who submits to that idea defends it, and they become powerful in its defense, and they pay their taxes to the institutional governmental body that defends that idea. Okay? So that's the big idea. Now with Bitcoin is that same land rights and enforcer upon which you don't pay taxes to no one, but you have your wealth defended by an army. And the big idea is that Bitcoin creates the sovereign individual. The sovereign individual has more wealth than our current rulers. Okay? So think about the GDP of nation states. It's the protocol that defends the right or ability for a single individual to have more wealth than the GDP of America. That's what it will inevitably create. Okay, so this is the big idea regarding Bitcoin that will draw in the people and remove the old order establishment, which is like the equivalent of the British. You know what I mean? who had you paying taxes, and he had the tax rebellions, etc., etc. Okay, so there's always these small people out here saying, oh, Bitcoin, you can't buy coffee with it. We don't need these people, to be honest. We don't need small ideas. Right now, there is a land grab. But the thing is, it's like, you can go to America and understand that something new is being set up and you need to own the land rights. But back then, it was the 13 colonies and there was nothing united. So whilst there were the individual states, and whilst there would have been individuals trying to become essentially the kings of their own states, there would likely be concerns that, who's going to be the ruler, who can really, I might buy land rights in this state, but could it be overpowered by such and such? Because there was no consensus. Okay, so this is what kind of Bitcoin is in its stage right now, where one, you need a consensus, because a lot of people seem to think different things are going to happen in Bitcoin. They think MicroStrategy is going to zero, but BlackRock's going to be in a reality where it still exists, and they got coins as well, and then nothing's really adding up, because no one understands the united time chain. It's a united time chain of realizing what Bitcoin is and that you're all defending the same idea. But right now, there's a timeline conflict where people think two different things are happening, but we understand Bitcoin, the time chain, there's only one thing that's going to happen. Okay. But to go back to the America, it's like, if you as an individual want to own more land, or more wealth, should I say, than the King of England, then you alone will not do it. Okay? So within the states, there are structures. You kind of need the collective entity of government or institution to almost hide behind and hide within. And you need to build it up to get to that sort of level of defending your wealth and your claims to all these properties and land against interstate conflict and rising powers, because the 13 colonies are not united yet. So there needs to be that building of structures that you can almost hide within. So we are in that stage right now where if you want to be a Bitcoin sovereign individual, you literally have to have had mind in like 2009, 2010 and maintained your privacy and never doxed yourself, or you need a new institution structure. We got the BlackRocks now, we got MicroStrategy, treasury companies, where the old order would attack an individual, eliminate them, okay? But when you create a structure that is playing by the rules of the old order and has so much people involved, not just one person, but these mini states of people, these mini colonies of people who are uniting under one single idea, one single belief. And there's so much litigation and laws that in order to attack someone, you kind of have to attack everyone, which is why these structures are going to help to create the sovereign individuals of the tomorrow, future, etc., etc. So to go back to where this originally was meant to go, it's that if you don't own the land, you're going to be the house renter or having to buy the house. Now, what does that mean? It means, look, Bitcoin is going up above everything. There's nothing we can do to really suppress it. There's nothing you can do. It's either people are buying more coins. It's either people are getting more money to buy more coins, and we just see it going sideways. But there is only 21 million. So if number is going up in terms of amount of coins held, that means something. It's going to mean something eventually. Or Bitcoin is just exploding up in price, doing more percentage than anything else. So be it that everyone is in the same situation. The person who's holding fiat, they're in the same situation as the person who works in the hedge fund who is not getting the return that they need. So if you do not own the land, if you don't own the asset, the new and only monetary storage technology that surpassed everything. If you don't own that, you must buy what is provided by the person who owns the land, what they build on top. So when we see things like MicroStrategy building all these products, and it's like, what is he offering? He's offering you 10% for stretch, and all these things. He's offering you all these things that beat the old order returns of the treasury rate or wherever it is, 4.5%. But we all know Bitcoin does 50%, 100%, potentially going to do 1,000%, over the course of 10 years, averaging however much per year. So if you don't own the base, the land, you have to deal with what is provided to you by the landowner. You know what I mean? So for a crumb of that if you don't own the Bitcoin, remember, if you don't own the Bitcoin, if you don't own the land rights, if you don't own the land, which imagine America before America, where really and truly none of us are descendants of landowners, so we don't even know how much money they're making. But remember, landowners are still connected to a system upon which they must pay tax into, which defends, if they were the original people who were captured by the idea of America and understood that the system was going to defend their wealth of their claims to all this multiple acres of land, then they need to pay into the system that defends that, which is paying taxes. Okay, where was I relating this to? Bitcoin, again, is that thing where you don't really have to pay taxes into a system to have it defend your wealth now. But yeah, if you don't own the land, then you must deal with what is built on top of the land. And all these MicroStrategy products are basically that. Because think about that. We know Bitcoin's going up more than what he can offer. Some people just want 10%, low risk return. But, Michael Saylor is confident, and common sense says that, Bitcoin's going to do more than that. So because you're desperate to keep up because of your inferior monetary technologies and monetary assets, you're having to purchase what is built on top of the land that he owns. These you can call him a Bitcoin bank, but he's like a Bitcoin landowner. He's like a landowner who is developing property. And Stretch, Strives, whatever, all these things, it's like he can just play with that. And if you're a human being in the digital age who doesn't own Bitcoin, you're in for, I don't know, you're just gonna watch this thing go up. It's just like nothing you own will match the rate of this. As a result, you're drowning. Okay, you are drowning. This is like an alien technology that has accelerated intelligence, but it's accelerated the understanding of the value of money. It's collated it into a abstract informational unit called the Bitcoin. And it's like everyone's just getting exponentially smarter every day, and you're becoming a primitive. You're there using beads and shells, and on the other side of the world, there's people using gold. And because gold is a secure element, there's secure trade, there's secure communication, there's secure organization, there's innovation, then you got planes, and you got technology, and you're just there. Like beads and shells could never organize a society like that. Why? Because it got debased, it got attacked. You couldn't really attack gold. You can only debase it. And when it got debased, it led to, for example, the fall of the Roman Empire. Okay, so Bitcoin is the humanity's organization and communications tool, especially for the AI age where information is valuable, but bad information can destroy your life. So Bitcoin is the secure information about money. That's going to result in the real advancement of the world. And it's going to make anyone who's not on this or connected to this network look like a primitive holding beads and shells. Okay? So, you really have to understand that the people you worship, the governments, the people who provide you with your fiat money that you say cannot exist, money cannot exist without a government backing, they have been surpassed. They have been surpassed. There is nothing in this realm that can match this. There's nothing that should even be called money other than Bitcoin, because you're going to really realize that. And everyone from the hedge funds who can't get a return, who are watching these Bitcoiners beat them and they don't understand why, to the person working for a paycheck who just is watching everything go up in price, nothing's matching this. Okay, it's been surpassed. Thus there's a land grab. And if you don't own the land, meaning the Bitcoin, 21 million square plots, then you're dealing with what's built on top. And they can really offer you, they're going to, like, you have to buy what they're offering you now, because as long as it beats the fiat products and the old world monetary storage assets, it's like you have to accept that. You're banking with MicroStrategy now. You're banking with those who build on top of these returns and offer you a crumb of those returns, so long as they beat the inferior products. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I painted the picture. But that was a story I always wanted to do. But I wanted to take the listener through the idea of going to America back in the day and working on a colony and being confused. Well, initially being caught by the dream of working on a colony to get resources to build a house. But what he would do is he would interact with the natives and their disgruntlement with the settlers, and not understand that, the story will be that, he doesn't understand why they're frustrated because they sold the land. So what's the issue? And then where was I going to go with that? I think I was going to have the natives really give him the understanding of the concept of even owning land, and trying to explain that these people have come here, they have a different belief. Your people have come and have a different belief. They're trying to, basically he shows them something that he couldn't see. He shows them the spirit of what is going on. And the power of this new land ownership, this deed, etc. thing, and what they're trying to defend, etc., etc. So what my character and the character, the reason the story will be powerful is because like no Bitcoin, like it's more beneficial to put the listener in the position of a character within a story, and they get to see the decisions that they would make, or they think they would make, that leads them to getting the wealth and becoming rich. It's like you're joining along. So this character realizes that, look, they're working for resources to build a house, but they're forgetting about this land ownership thing, the deed, because this guy was just a peasant. The main character was just a peasant, who they rallied them here to come work in America on the colony under propaganda, which is that's what we're in today, where they're saying, oh yeah, go uni, get a degree, you're gonna get a house. It's lies. You forgot about, now that Bitcoin exists, you're forgetting about the land ownership claim, the land rights. Okay, and you need to reflect on the fact that you're here buying houses and renting, because you're not descendants of the people who own the land. That's why you don't have that story. This is why the story is important. Okay, so the character learns that, it's important to own the land, and he realizes that he's on a fiat. The colony is just, it's a full story, because if we don't own the land, he sees, upon speaking to the natives, he sees the power of it. You know what I mean? Okay, and this character is going to go on to, go for something bigger. Okay, so my character is going to travel along, blah, 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 through America, building up that group, that structure, who are trying to go for something bigger. And these are going to end up in Manhattan and owning, owning large portions of Manhattan, because they see the concept of, forget about that small mindset of working on a colony, which is what a lot of fiat people are doing. Get a degree, buy a house. That's on the colony, man. You know what I mean? But the big idea, especially when we're in the age of Bitcoin existing, you must understand the land rights. So that's what the story and the interaction with the natives is really going to show the listener. Okay, that there's something else going on. This whole Bitcoin thing, this whole land grab for treasury companies, for the coins, you need to pay attention. You can't be here in 2025, in the 2020s, and you're thinking, oh, I need to what index fund should I buy? Like, the whole old order monarchy is gone. They've been surpassed. The new force is here, and it's on a whole different type of thing. It surpassed money itself. So the character is gonna, it's very important to make the reader, the listener, the viewer see themselves in the story and build upon these ideas, and then end up with vast sums of wealth, and they feel like they got rich just by listening to the story. They feel like they got rich, and then to hone it back with, hey, this is happening right now. You need to actually own the land. The land is Bitcoin. The whole surpassing, because the whole governmental republic thing is a technology. It's a social technology. Even though there's probably government, basically in my story, I really say that they came from the monarchy. That's it. All they knew was just kings in charge. That's it. And this was the first ever sort of like republic, governmental, democratic type of thing, liberty, etc., etc. And this was like it utilized the greed and the desire to escape oppression, and the ability, the thing that captures the mind is, oh, we can own this much. We have a structure, a system that's going to defend multiple acres of land, and I can have my own state. I can have all these people that are on these colonies working on my land, and I'm basically the king, and they don't even realize, because I created an idea of what they're going to be doing on the colony. The creation of the idea, the propaganda. You're going to be working in the office, you're going to get the degree, you're going to buy the house. Like, we own the idea. Okay, so yeah, and that's kind of what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is, for those who understand, the key thing is understanding that it's being surpassed. All old world technologies have been surpassed. Your government cannot help you. They cannot provide you with anything. There's no asset, not even gold. I'm sorry. It's like it was given by an alien attacking race. Okay, Bitcoin. By colonizers, by settlers, by some advanced people. It's being surpassed. All monetary technologies have been surpassed. As a result, there's nothing you can hold. There's nothing that will store value. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Every note, pound, dollar, euro is the Zimbabwe dollar. It is a bead. It is a shell. The magic is gone. The magic, it's more than, it's not really Zimbabwe dollars. It is a bead, and it is a shell. It's shell money. That is it. It's shell money, and Bitcoin is the gold. So you're going to be there wondering why you're getting poorer. And the billion hedge fund manager is going to be sitting there as well saying, why is Bitcoin outperforming everything I'm investing in my fund? Everyone is in the same position. And everyone realizing that is what causes Bitcoin to do what it does. And we have those who own the land, and those who will have to buy or rent or work on top of the things that are built by the landowners, because you'll be working for that yield. You'll be working for some return. It's as simple as that. Your government cannot print out anything to pay you in that is real or has any value outside of your contained fiction. If we lock down your country and prevent you from using the internet, and don't let you realize how poor you actually are, we can have you using pounds amongst yourselves. But if you was to try go out in the real world and say, hey, let me exchange my pounds for dollars because I'm going on holiday, they'll treat you like you got the Zimbabwe dollar. It won't be worth nothing. That's how it really is. Anyway, I'll leave that there.